Welcome to the Fine Print, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caleb Teskey, and today I am joined by Todd Lantery from Trout River Cannabis in Montgomery, Vermont. Todd, thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me on, Caleb.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. Before we do anything serious, would you give us a 5 minute life story?
Ooh.
I
Sure.
don't care. You can make it longer. I don't care.
Yeah, no, 5 minutes sounds good. I grew up on Cape Cod. I moved to Vermont in 1987. So been here a little while. Went to UVM for a bit. Uh, Burlington was too fun, so I didn't end up staying at UVM very long. Recently in 2016, I received my degree in environmental science from Johnson State College. Um, uh, Growing up on the Cape, I got into the marijuana industry young and hardcore. By 15, I was heavily involved in the industry. Um, Started growing, had my first grow when I was 20 years old, so 35 years ago.
I
Um,
was gonna say, so yeah, that's
In a couple minutes, yeah. So 35 years ago, we had chatted when I visited with you about my original grow and all that. So I was for the older folks of us, I was taught how to cultivate by Abby Hoffman's son Andrew, and a lot of fun. And he was quite an experienced grower, so learned a ton right off the bat. Um, got caught with 43 plants in my basement, the first grow, and got a 18-month suspended sentence after fighting it for 3 years. Lost my $500,000 contracting business overnight. Just clients dried right up.
damn.
Affected my life, in every aspect.
How old were you when that happened, Todd?
20,
20.
20 years old.
And how did you get caught, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no doubt. The it was who was taught me to grow. Andrew Hoffman, the federal government, the authorities were after him for years, and
Uh,
they, staked my place out, knowing he had been there or possibly been there, and they broke into my home and found my crop and came back the next day.
so it was a little bit of guilt by association, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I had nobody, no one in the town knew. No one, I didn't. Yeah, I got caught by the feds breaking in.
damn, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you there. I was just curious about the details there, but
No,
carry
right
on.
on.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
any questions?
Mm-mm. That was it. Go right ahead.
Yeah, right on. So I didn't take a hiatus from growing for very long, maybe just under a year, and I got right back into it again. And stayed in the industry for a while until I moved back to Vermont in 1995 and have been here ever since. I moved up to Belvedere, Vermont in 1998, and about 9 years later moved to Montgomery, where I live now.
Hmm. Can I stop you for a second and back it up because I was super curious about the septic issues on Cape Cod, and I was
Yeah, right
hoping
on.
maybe before we talk about weed, just because that was some of the environmental concerns are other things that I'm looking at personally, and I was
Right on.
hoping maybe you just would speak on that for a minute before we get into the weed stuff.
Sure. So yeah, to begin with, my father is a civil engineer, general contractor. So I got into um contracting early on, and so he's also a septic engineer designer. So I had an intimate knowledge of how that all works, how septic systems work on Cape Cod, and it's mostly sand on Cape Cod. So the pollution from sewage systems makes its way quite readily to the ocean. And when I was growing up, in the 80s, I was building a lot of homes and whatnot. Um, the regulations of where you could build on Cape Cod were fairly strict. There were a lot of places that were near wetlands, were going to impact wetlands or the ocean tremendously, that were declared unbuildable. They weren't permittable. Um, at this time, they've loosened the regulations so that most all of those places have been built on. And there's an incredibly serious nitrogen pollution problem all around the entire perimeter of Cape Cod. And it's destroying shellfish beds. It's closing them for years. Taking down cod,
Really, and
taking
that's
down
a big fishing area.
right on, absolutely, striped bass. It's lowering populations of striped bass, and it's also causing issues with homes right along the coast becoming uninhabitable. So it's a human-made problem, and it's a massive problem now. That's really not reversible.
Hmm. Damn. Maybe we
Yeah,
shouldn't have
the
done that.
only
That was a bummer of a note.
yeah, well, so the only way to address it, and they have yet to decide on doing it due to funding, is to put a Cape Cod wide, or at least a handful of actual wastewater systems.
Yeah, you said they have none of that on the Cape.
I believe Hyannis, that's the kind of the urbanized area in the middle of the Cape, has one. That's because it's mostly commercial industrial, but the rest of Cape Cod does not have a wastewater treatment system. So as of right now, it's just all leaching right into the ocean. Wastewater treatment systems would solve the problem.
Like straight up human shit we're talking about going into the
You got
ocean.
it. You got it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. But again, it is solvable. What they've done isn't reversible as it is, but it is solvable with wastewater treatment systems. To leave it on a good note, it's a beautiful place. I grew
It
up
is,
on
yeah.
the beach. It is absolutely gorgeous, and they can solve this problem, and it just is going to take a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a matter of,
Yep,
finding the money.
you got
People
it.
that want to spend it, they got money to spend on lots of other shit, but not the
They
actual
do.
shit.
And yeah, I guess it's going to get to a critical point where, like, it's just, the odor is tremendous, and you know what I mean. It's going to have to get to a point where it directly affects the vast majority of people down there.
Sure. Yep.
And so far, they're able to ignore it, because you go to the beach, it's still beautiful. The ocean still looks beautiful. You're still able to swim. So far, it's not affecting them individually. So there's not that motivation to throw the money
Yeah,
at it.
so there's no really own it or impetus to sort of like change anything.
You got it.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about weed now. That was a cool little side story that I wanted to get on there. But
Thank you.
it sounds like what? It sounds like you've been growing for 25 years now, 30
35,
years, 35.
35
Okay,
years.
cool. I did the math a little wrong there. And you got busted the first time.
Very first grow,
The
yes.
damn.
It didn't deter me at all, though.
So are you going for a social equity license?
I am not. I'm going for a tier 2 indoor license. No social equity. That because I wasn't incarcerated,
Uh,
I don't qualify for a social equity.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Even though you were arrested and charged.
And all the rest of my business ruined, all that. You
Damn.
know, tens of thousands in legal fees, the whole deal. And yeah, no, I don't qualify. I
So you
talked
were negatively impacted by the war on drugs,
absolutely in a huge way.
but you don't qualify for the social equity.
The CCB drew the line at whether or not you were actually incarcerated. I only spent a night in jail, and was bailed out. So yeah, I don't qualify.
That's a bummer.
That is, it did greatly impact me, and I'm sure many other folks that weren't actually incarcerated, along with those incarcerated. And I think it's a arbitrary line to draw in reality, because the impact, yes, being in jail is more of an extreme impact than I faced, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't financially ruined. It didn't affect
Right,
my life
sure.
for a solid 5 years. I went through a lot. So
Yeah, if
as
it
it
fucks up your business, I mean, I mean, going to jail will also fuck up your business. They're kind of
right on,
similar effects.
right on. I feel for all of the folks that have been beat down in the war on drugs. So I don't begrudge not getting the social equity. I get they have to draw a line somewhere. I think what the one they drew is arbitrary. At the same time, though, I get it. They can't just be handing out social equity licenses to
Hmm.
everyone.
Okay, fair. How did you feel about the application process? Have you had any troubles dealing with any of the associated, banking? insurance?
Sure. I first formed my company in of May
You
2021,
got some
and
really nice weed, by the way. I want to throw that out there too.
thank you. Yeah, it was fun to share with you.
Yes, it was. I agree.
Yeah. That I just started. I just germinated 18 of those Humboldt Afghani that I shared with you, and
Cool.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the next round.
Mm.
Um,
And yeah, the application. Yeah, yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
right on. So I got into my application, and it was really a shit show because the sands were shifting like nearly daily for a while there. Then it got to be weekly, and it seems like it's settled down in the last half a year. Um, as of right now, I'm on hold with my business. I had a location out this way in Richford, Vermont, and the town was very much doing anything they could to slow down or defeat my process. So I've rather than throwing more good money after bad, I cut my ties there. And
Yeah, and
right,
Richford does seem like maybe that kind of town.
it is. It's definitely super conservative, and they did not vote to opt in twice now. Um,
Oh, they had two.
Yep, and as far as I know, they've had two votes to opt in, and they've voted it down both times. I believe the last time by not that many votes. I believe fewer than 100 votes. So there's still hope there, but yeah, the town government was doing anything they could to hold up. They took over 2 months to get me my wastewater and potable water allocation letter needed for my license, knowing the whole time, promising me it the entire 2 months every few
Have they
days.
set
So
up a local control board in Montgomery or Richford? Or was
no, I don't
that's
believe
just something
so.
you need for your business, period?
Right. No, I don't believe
Okay.
Montgomery has a local control board. No, I
Okay.
just would have to go I'm even in an industrial, I'm sorry, residential commercial two zoning. So I, don't even have to apply for a variance or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, no control board here, just the
I was
state.
just curious if that was one of those provisions that's being enacted on a municipal level as opposed to like a statewide level.
Nope, no,
Okay.
nope. The
Cool.
wastewater allocation letters for the statewide license.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And and you also have like fire marshal codes to deal with. You got wastewater, fire, electrical. Um, who handles those? Did you talk to the fire marshal and an electrical inspector?
I am, yeah. I'm a one man operation at the moment. So yeah, no, I deal with all of that. I deal with everything from office stuff through dealing with all of the permitting, through cultivation.
So you've done all of it. You don't have a lawyer helping you with any
No,
of
I
that?
do. I do
Oh,
have a
okay.
lawyer. I'll definitely
Okay.
throw that in. The Vermont Cannabis Solutions, Tim and Andrew,
Yeah.
help me form my LLC, and they've definitely given me copious amounts of guidance along the way. As far as
Good.
physically doing it all, I have not paid them to do it. I've taken that on myself, but
Mm,
absolutely with their guidance, no doubt
cool.
about it.
Good to hear.
Yeah, no, they've been wonderful to work
I
with.
liked him a lot. I've never
Yeah,
met Andrew, but I liked him. He's a good
yeah,
shit.
they're both lovely people, and they do good work. They've
Mm,
done me right.
that's important when you're a lawyer.
Right on.
you gotta you gotta keep your clients happy.
Yes.
Mm. Okay, so let's talk about. I was super bummed to hear that you're having this trouble. Your partner has had some personal issues. That
Right.
was, I want to send my condolences out there. But I'm
Thank you.
curious, sort of how you're planning to overcome that obstacle.
Well, so right now I have a two-pronged approach. I am in the immediate sense looking for employment in the cannabis industry, while I find a new location and make it happen on my own.
So Todd needs a job.
Exactly. Uh, Anything from cultivation through retail sales, I'm open to any of it. So,
Okay,
yeah, and I have even retail experience at Green Thumb Gardening in Underhill, and
no shit.
yeah, in '98 through 2000, couple of
I've
years.
actually been trying to reach that guy who it was a little grow store, right?
Yes, yeah, in the
Yeah,
church there, right on the Underhill
right,
Jericho
right,
line.
right. I'd like to talk to that guy.
Right on. I can message him and try to
That'd
connect
be
you.
awesome. Hell yeah.
You know.
What? So Yeah. So anything cultivation to retail, huh? Have you
Yeah,
ever
why
done
not?
any manufacturing?
Sure, any production, yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
right on.
Todd. I wanted to get you a shameless plug there in
Thank
case
you.
anyone's listening that can maybe help you out. I might also be looking for a job soon.
There you go. Highly recommend it.
Could I ask you about your cultivation techniques, sir?
Sure.
Because the herb that you have dropped here as samples, super fucking tasty, man.
Right on.
And
I,
yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you're up to over there.
sure. Grow with a living soil. It's very simple. I use peat-based bale soil, and I add back Costamine. I'll give them a plug. Costamine, their Quaddy blend compost, and some mycorrhizae, and that is it. If I need IPM, I have generally no issue with that. If I do, I'll add beneficial nematodes. That's I find work best.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's really basic and simple. I've been hand watering forever because I don't, have a huge operation. I do it right here at my home. So yeah,
Hmm.
limited. So yeah, just good water, good soil, and I use a couple shots of I hardly use any, but a couple of hits of over there flowering of Buddha grow and bloom, but hardly any.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. And you said good water, which is something I've been asking a lot of people about
right on,
because I've been seeing a lot of places around Vermont that are having issues with their water quality,
right on.
and for sure it seems like I'm not a grower again, so I want to make that very clear again. But
Yeah,
it seems like the guys I know that make beer, they'll tell me the most important ingredient is the water,
absolutely.
and I
Yeah,
feel like it's probably the same if you're growing a plant. Would you say that's accurate?
absolutely accurate. If you have too high or too low a pH, for example, you're going to get your nutrients locked right out, or a weird mix taken up, that an unbalanced
What do you mean
mix.
locked right up? So like a too high of a pH will stop your plant from absorbing certain nutrients?
Sure, yes, it binds. It, yes, I'm going to just
Okay,
sorry,
cool. Yeah,
my
no,
brain's shorting out a little
I don't
bit.
know shit about this. So yeah.
Right on. Yes, it makes, if the pH is too far off, it can also burn the roots, that kind of thing. But no,
Ah,
it makes those nutrients unavailable to the plant.
ah, okay.
Amongst other things, if you have, my biggest issue with my water here in town is I live on a treated water system here in Montgomery Center, and a lot of times when folks aren't necessarily as skilled as they should be with water treatment, they just hit it hard with the chlorine, which is what the deal here in Montgomery is. And that, I can't water with that at all. Even in an emergency situation, it'll basically kill the plants in a day or two.
Chlorine.
Yeah, right on. It just burns the shit out of the
Well, I
roots
mean,
and
I know I've gone swimming and I've come out of the pool and my eyes are just fucking red and
just
they
burn.
feel
Yeah,
bloodshot. And I
right on.
I could imagine it has a similar effect on a plant.
Yeah, you got it. As far as like human consumption too, I don't drink it at all. I don't give it to my pets, anybody. If I drink even a vat of coffee made with it, I get a really bad stomach upset from
Damn.
I'm assuming the chlorine. So no, I use all spring water for my plants as well. I have for
You got a
years.
spring out there?
We do, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right nearby, there's a public spring that the town maintains.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna come fill
Yeah,
up my water bottles.
tested the water. It's spot on pH wise. It's awesome to drink, and the plants love it.
Mm. And Todd, this is something that I've been asking a lot of people about that I'd really like to try is maybe a side by side study of what it would be like to grow a plant with tap water or what it would be like with well water or spring water or whatever.
Right.
Just different types of water to
Yeah.
see how the yield is or and I know it's going to be a little odd because every plant is different anyway.
Yeah.
But I thought that would be an interesting experiment.
If you took, you know, three clones from the same mom, you'd have a good baseline to start.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you
Um,
go. Okay.
yeah, right on. Um, I think it would be somewhat worthwhile experiment. The easiest way to go clearly is a a water treatment system, a three-way water treatment to get sediment out and softener if it needs it, and RO filter as well. That's the easiest way to deal with it. I get spring water for the house anyways for myself and my pets. So I just get it for the plants too because I'm already up there. But otherwise, I'd have a filtration system in the house for the town water. That's what I'm sure 99% of
Sure.
people do.
Sure. Yeah, and I was going to say that water is very heavily treated. It seems like at this point, municipal tap
Exactly.
water,
Yep.
especially like if you go to St. Johnsbury, dude, ugh, that
Yeah.
St. J water is fucking disgusting, man. It tastes like metal and
Yeah. Yeah.
chemicals. Like I just, like when we were kids growing up playing sports, we go in to play basketball at St. J. And we got to drink out of the water fountain. It was just disgusting. Like I didn't feel like it was helping me hydrate. I felt like it was making me feel nauseous, dude.
Yeah, yeah, right on. So it's similar with the a lot of water treatment systems are like that because they're there's just again there's not the level of skill that should be there.
And maybe we should stop just polluting our water sources. But
That's a damn good idea.
that's just call me crazy, Todd.
Yeah,
Can I ask you about your genetics a little bit? You mentioned maybe some old school genetics, and yeah. I'm curious
sure.
where you're getting your herb from, Todd.
Right on. So I most recently have been using 2020 Mendocino out of California, obviously, for my genetics. And that's where the Humboldt Afghani comes
Nice.
from. Um, their genetics are obviously the end product is lovely, and their seeds are super viable. The ones I just started that I mentioned, everybody popped in less than 48 hours. Just the old school paper towel method. Everybody popped, all 18 that I started. So I'm super happy
That's
with
still
them.
working, huh? The paper towel method.
Yeah, hell yeah. I sometimes will use the rapid rooter plugs, the peat based plugs. But I didn't have any on hand and I wanted to germinate them. So I popped them in paper towel, and yesterday I popped them the seed with the tap roots into some seedling mix soil in a flat. So
Mhm.
doing it old school this time.
Uh, so with the tier two indoor, um, what does that give you? 2,500 square feet. What is that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
2,500 square foot total
Mm.
canopy.
And have you ever worked in a facility of that size before?
No.
No. Okay, so this is a step up for you.
Hell yeah. 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 I usually run, a couple hundred square feet. So yeah,
Okay.
big step up.
Cool. And that's one thing that's certainly been interesting to watch is people that were previously, I don't want to say amateur home growers, but people that have been dealing on a different sort of order of magnitude of growing. Sort of
Absolutely.
you got 10 plants instead of 100,
Yeah.
or 25 plants instead of 2,500 or something like that, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how everybody makes out in the industry trying to make those steps up because it's going to require people to make those steps up
Absolutely.
if we
Yes.
are going to have a thriving industry, it seems like.
Scaling up has in a lot of ways it hasn't been challenging just because you're using the same things. You're just, scaling up. But then there's been the learning curve of which lighting company is going to give you the best deal on their lights when you're scaling up to buying a bunch of them, that kind of thing. I've
which
always done
company
hand
which
watering.
company is that, Todd?
I haven't decided which one I'm
Okay,
going with
cool.
yet. I'm still looking
Go
at a
ahead.
few, so we won't call one out yet. A big thing, learning curve for me is I've always hand watered because I only had a couple hundred square foot. It was doable, but with 2,500 square feet, clearly it's not doable. So I've been big learning curve about drip irrigation. So pretty sure I'm going with the um, floor flex, the drip plates. Um, seem like the best bet. So that's how I'm going to do it.
Mm.
Still going to go living soil. I'm not changing that. I might play around a little bit with hydroponics and a couple other kind of
I was
systems.
gonna say, yeah, I see a lot of guys doing the hydro, but I
Sure.
see a lot of guys doing the no-till organics indoors.
Yeah, yes, you got it. That's what I do. Yeah, I've done it forever, and the product seems to be pretty tremendous. So
The flavor is really fantastic, man.
I,
Um,
I love that
I've seen. Can I
multi-caffeinated.
tell you? I've seen buds that look sexier than yours, but the
Right.
flavor was fucking phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, right on. Um, yeah, that was a I did I potted I grew all those out, flowered all those out in 3 gallon pots, so they kind of the buds could have been bigger.
Ah,
But yeah, but it the potency and the flavor, the terpenes are
mhm,
spot on.
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
again, it's like I'll tell you, I can't grow weed, so if you can, you're a magician to me.
That was my
I'm
first time with that strain too. So that's why
really.
I'm giving it another run, and this time
Mhm.
they're getting potted up to 10 galloners.
And
Yeah.
I'd like to. I should give a shout out to Emma, maybe our downstairs neighbor, for introducing us.
Ah, right on.
Yeah, yeah. She was the first one who gave me a sample of your herb, and I was like, I should probably talk to that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Emma's a good lady. I'm glad
Yeah,
she hooked us up for sure.
cool, cool. Let me ask you. Let's see. We did the banking, insurance. Did we get into any details there? Do you care to share any details about that? Who you're using for insurance or banking? You don't have to, but I've been asking everyone about that.
I'm still shopping around for insurance. I've talked to 3 different folks. Um, company out of Maine, company out of Colorado, um, and one guy here in Vermont locally. There's one other Vermont person I want to check in with. And I'd like to stick locally. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it's wild that you can sort of buy out of state insurance for
yeah.
this. That kind of caught me as a little bit strange.
Yeah, right on me too. But giving it a little more thought, it makes sense. You know, you have established markets like Colorado, California,
Sure.
that and Maine that have been dealing with it for a long time, and I guess they're willing to take a chance on Vermont.
Right. And I bet you can get some better deals from some people out there who
That
are
you
already.
know, that's why I checked in with them to see. But it's pretty comparable. I think the folks here in Vermont realize they have to compete, and that was pretty comparable. I'm going to guess they're dealing with a lot of these agents are dealing with a lot of the actual insurance companies, the same ones as well. So I think it's been fairly even, grand or two difference over the
Oh,
year, which is
okay.
substantial, but not out of hand.
Hmm. All right. All right. What about
Yeah.
banking? Did you have any trouble getting a banking account going?
I haven't started one yet because I'm,
Okay, cool.
wait until I have some, revenue to
Sure.
to deal with that. And clearly the banking scene again in Vermont has, the sands have shifted a bunch. Vermont State Employees Credit Union there was up and going for us for a little bit, but I don't know if they've restarted offering accounts, but I know they had stopped
They
suddenly
did they
after.
did stop, and I also don't know if they've restarted. So
Yes. So I'm putting on hold. Again, I want to get some revenue in the door, but more importantly, I want to see how it's going to shake out.
hmm.
Because I know
And
they were talking about, merging with New England Federal Credit Union.
that's already happened. I believe the merger
Is
is
it they have
completely,
merged?
yeah.
And I know I was looking at the rates that New England Federal Credit Union charged for cannabis businesses, and it was obscene. So
Hmm.
definitely looking. I believe there are a couple of out of state banks to look into as well.
Hmm. And so, if we saw federal legalization tomorrow, that would maybe open up some more banking options. How do you feel about that, or maybe where do you see the federal legalization movement headed currently?
Um, um, so yeah, I think as far as insurance and banking and other aspects of the actual operations of business versus production, cultivation, retail, that kind of thing, the business side of it, I think federal legalization would help with that. And it's going to add regulatory burden as well. But if we can get a lot more competition in banking and insurance, the rates clearly will come down. At least we'd hope so.
Well, I've
Um,
seen them. I've seen them. They're already fighting it out. So that's
good.
good. And if the
You like
banks
to
want
hear
to
that.
race, if banks and insurance companies want to race to the bottom, I'm okay with that.
I'm great with that. Um, As far as federal legalization, um, I'm I'm glad it has not happened yet because industry here, cannabis industry here in Vermont, is still in its nascent stages, and we're put against if they federally legalize it. We're a tiny state. I really want our industry here in Vermont to be somewhat stable before federal regulation, cannabis legalization hits.
I
I
agree with you,
think,
Todd.
yeah, I think we'd get crushed if it hits before our industry's
Well, here's the other thing,
stable.
and let me run this by you because this is a conversation I've had in my brain a ton of times. Um, because if federal legalization hit tomorrow, obviously people would start bringing in Colorado weed and selling it super cheap here.
You got it.
But it would also give Vermont growers an opportunity to bring their weed outside of the state, which
I
I
agree.
think could also be sort of beneficial for the people who have an established product. But to get back to your point, it would be nice if we had a couple more years to establish that. I
Exactly.
believe, and for the
That's where I'm
states,
at.
and for the states that have no cannabis program now, if federal legalization happened tomorrow, I assume those states would just get stuck with Walmart weed all day.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. They're going to grab it wherever they can, and clearly they're going to grab it cheap. California, Colorado, that kind of
No, I'm
thing.
talking about like Alabama and those states. Like if we hit federal legalization tomorrow, those kind of states with no weed program at all
Yeah.
are gonna immediately start trying to fucking grab whatever they can, and I think they
But
would grab a subpar product if I
yeah,
had to
no.
guess.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to grab the not saleable in Colorado product and bring it in. Yeah. Uh, yeah, again, I agree with you on the if once our industry is stable here in Vermont. Vermont has a great reputation with like craft beer and maple and dairy and all that, and absolutely the cannabis industry can capitalize on that once we're able to sell nationally for sure. Again, though, we need to be stable and established before we can capitalize on that,
Mm,
in my
fucking A,
opinion.
Todd. Yeah. Uh, what else do we got to do, Todd?
What else do we have to do?
We don't have to
Um,
do anything. I'm just trying to think through my list of the normal questions I ask people. And I also like, boy, I was just super sad to hear you having trouble getting your business off the ground.
right.
And I was hoping if there's anything I can do to help you, um, maybe we could talk about that. What
Um,
kind of what kind of help do you need, Todd, to get because you grow a really nice product. You
right.
seem like a fucking decent monkey. And
Thank you.
I hate to see people struggling out here. So I'm curious maybe what you need to get going and if there's anything I could do to help.
Um, at the moment, location is huge. I live out here in Montgomery. We're a little over an hour outside of Burlington, Chittenden County. So the opportunities for finding a location are far more slim. So that's been a big deal. As I say, I gave up the location I had in Richford because it was clear that wasn't going to work out. So that's a big deal right now is finding a location. So I could definitely use a hand with that. Closer than Burlington would be lovely, but up to an hour away. So Chittenden County, even east of here into
I was gonna say what
Arms.
JP, Newport, somewhere up
Yeah, you
there.
got it. Yeah, anywhere that way. I'm about 10 minutes downhill from J Peak
Yeah,
to the
or like
south.
Morrisville, maybe. That's pretty
Morrisville would
close
be fine.
though.
Yeah, I'm like 40 minutes from you guys in Morrisville.
Hmm.
Yeah, any of that, anywhere within an hour radius would be lovely. I would
Hmm.
definitely be helpful at the moment. A partner would be extremely helpful as well. As I said earlier, I've been with the guidance of ESC, but otherwise doing all of this by myself, and it's
BCS.
yeah, sorry. Thank you for correcting me there. Yeah, Vermont Cannabis Solutions have been awesome for guidance, but otherwise I've been running this all by myself, and it definitely is overwhelming at points. And yeah, just have that other person to bounce ideas off of, all that kind of thing. It would be great to have
A partner. What kind of
yeah,
partner are
partner.
you looking for, Todd?
Um, a funding partner would be lovely,
Okay.
of course.
You looking for some capital?
Some capital would be awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Some capital would be lovely. That would
It
help.
doesn't seem like you need a growing partner, huh? It seems like you got that down.
I do, although I love working with other people, especially younger folks, because they bring so much knowledge, current knowledge, especially with technology now, lighting systems, all that, to the table, that I really enjoy working with younger folks and
That's a great
cultivating.
point because
Yeah.
since you started growing, boy, there's the advancements in technology have been
I,
fucking crazy.
Look at lighting. I've been growing with old school HID 600-watt HPSs forever and ever and ever. I still have 50 square foot of my space running 600 HPS, HID lights. So, but I'm going to give a shout out to Troy Chapman at Highly Rooted. He has been, yeah, he's amazing. Michelle and him are that straight up highly rooted. Support them in any and every way you can. They've been amazing. But
Wonderful
Troy,
people. Yeah.
they're just like they're beautiful down to their souls, straight up. There's no other way to put it. And um they are incredibly giving and selfless. So um anyways, I'm starting to transition a few years back to LED lighting for all the right reasons. And I'm looking at all this product on the market and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, what do I spend thousands of bucks trial and error, and Troy was tremendously helpful, and he's already trialed and errored a lot of stuff, and helped me skip wasting my time, wasting thousands of dollars. So that's a prime example, working with someone that's younger than me.
So those guys help save you some money by doing some of the trial and error on their own,
Oh
and
my
then
God,
giving you the
thousands of
advice.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah.
right on, thousands of dollars. And his advice was solid. Like, he wasn't just flipping some opinion out there. He's trialed it out, and he was like, this is what to go with.
Mm.
um and he was not wrong. The systems work really well. He hooked me up with Mars Hydro, was the original setup I'm going with, and they're on the table for a commercial setup as well.
I just got a Mars Hydro light for my girlfriend to grow her
Yeah,
houseplants for Christmas.
right on, perfect. Yeah, I love them. It's shit, I've had a few of them now for over 2 years, and they're still working great, running strong. Um, Plants are putting out good yield, so yeah, yeah, I'm
And
excited about it.
the flavor is fucking really nice, Todd.
Right on. Yeah, I love going for the flavor and obviously potency. Those are my
I don't,
two.
and I like the potency too, dude. But like, honestly, I found out recently some of the strains I thought were like the tastiest aren't super potent in terms of
Right on.
THC,
Right on. No, the
and that's
entourage
fine with
effect.
me too, dude. Like
Yeah,
I do it 3 tests. I smell it, I like look at it, and then I taste it, and that's still my 3 tests, man. And
yeah.
if it looks decent, even if it doesn't look that decent, if it tastes good and it smokes nice, um, I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, right on. And back to the potency thing, like, yeah, you can smoke some badly, poorly cured, not flavorful, but highly potent pot, and it just doesn't hit that great. So no, you're right. It's the whole entourage effect kicks in. You have some really tasty, really wonderful aroma, cannabis flower, and yeah, it can be lower potency and it still gets you higher. In my
Mm.
mind, I'm right with you. It doesn't have to be super potent, but I like a mix though. I like it, um, I know I grew a strain lemon dosi a few years back, and it tested out at 29% THC, and it super tasty, super potent, really strong in limonene, killer strain, and it happened to be super potent as well. But yeah, it doesn't have to always be that way for sure.
Can I ask you, Todd? Could we talk a little bit about sort of your use of cannabis and maybe your brain injury? I don't know if that's something that's on board here, but
Yeah,
I'd
sure.
love to talk about sort of it sounded like rough, and it sounds like cannabis you're using to overcome some of those difficulties, and I'd love to hear about that if you're willing to talk on it.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Yeah, so I've smoked a lot or for a long time, but I had a brain aneurysm in April of 2020, and had you can see the lovely dent and football shaped scar. I had a craniotomy and an aneurysm clip placed on the aneurysm, and yeah, it's healed up well. But I am all opiates and their analogs stop my heart. So
Wow.
I
Wow.
even after open brain surgery, I could not really take any painkillers, and
So
clearly
you'll
it was.
die if you take a Percocet.
Yeah, you got it. Even a 5 milligram perk, I my heart drops down to 2 or 3 beats per minute,
Wow, dude.
and tries to stop. So no, I can't take anything, even a tiny amount. Um, and my pain daily is at a 7 out of 10. Just sitting
Really?
here right now, So, and
You
it
said you
spikes
said you
some.
woke up this morning and you were feeling a little rough. And I want to thank you for doing this interview because like I don't want to put you on the spot, but you did mention that this morning.
Yeah, right on. No, no, no. Yeah, some mornings are tough. I think the way I put it to you is the horse was kicking me in the skull pretty hard.
That is what
Uh,
you said.
that it I've never been kicked by a horse, but it definitely feels like someone's booting me in the skull really hard, repeatedly.
That bad, huh, Todd?
Yeah, that bad. And that usually only goes on for, a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, and comes and goes. But the constant pain around the surgical bone flap, as it's called, is a 7 out of 10. And without pain relief, I would be flat on my back every day and miserable. And as we said, opiates aren't an option, which I'm very thankful for, because fuck that. And so I take vast amounts of THC every day. I smoke probably an eighth to a quarter a day. And when
Are you
the
smoking
pains,
joints? Are you doing dabs? What are you doing, Todd?
mostly, I'm old school, mostly, just packing cones, rolling joints. Um, if I'm in a hurry, I'll just stomp some in a glass bowl, and um, just to get what I need.
And
I
do you
do.
feel like how do you feel that that has helped your pain management? Do you feel it's been effective?
Oh, as much as anything can be. So beyond that, I do use vape carts. That seems that kind of provides, when it spikes, like I was saying, like somebody's booting me in the head, that kind of gives me a quick blast of relief, not a tremendous amount of relief, but enough to where I can, function. And back to highly rooted, man. They have been tremendous in they make me pain relief candy. And I some days will eat 1,000 milligrams worth to be able to function and
Really?
keep the pain
A
back. So
thousand?
that's my main
Wow, dude.
form of pain relief, is eating
One
candy.
thousand. One
Yeah, some
gram.
days.
One
Yesterday,
gram of edibles.
yeah, yeah, exactly. 1 gram. I deal with it in grams most of the
Wow,
time.
dude.
Yeah,
Holy
I saw
shit.
your post yesterday about you're at 20
I
milligrams.
dude, that's my sweet
I
spot, 20 to
I,
30. And
I
you're
respect
50
that.
times that.
I respect that. So, right after I read that last night, I threw back. I think it was 8. I kind of just grabbed a handful of 20 milligram gummies, and just threw them down. And a little while later, I chowed down 100 milligram English toffee. So,
Oh my
um,
God. Those toffees are so
still,
good.
they are so damn good. Oh my God, they're just so fucking good. And so even with that, I was still fully functional. I have to say, so my pain's pretty extreme. So most of the THC goes to manage that pain. So I don't get, so like you, for example, you'd be laid out comatose for a couple of days
Oh,
if
for
you
sure. Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
That's
ate
too
the
much
amount
for
I
me.
ate. But it doesn't. I mean, it gets me high. I'll say that, but it doesn't get me, high like you'd think, because it's working on the pain. It's
Mm.
doing something else. Which,
Mm.
yeah, thank goodness I have access to, and grow it, so I have access to a bunch of
Yeah.
it.
So, how is your cannabis in terms of treating pain? Have you found strains that are better than yours, or is yours solid?
I try to grow stuff that a couple of different things. I really enjoy um um strains with the fruit strains. Like I have that. So you still have to help me name that my in-house
Yeah,
strain that I
I'm a
made.
fruit head.
It's
I told you, Todd. I'll help you with anything.
right on. It's a Fruit Loops cross with strawberry guava. And that one heavy berry aroma and flavor. And that one seems to help with the pain really well. I had the strawberry guava, the one of the parents of that strain as well. Very tropical fruit flavor. Um Heavy sativa, probably 80% sativa, but it doesn't have that anxiety, uplifting, but at the same time a good pain relief. If I'm really hurting, the heavier indicas help tremendously. But I'm going to sit down for a while and relax after that. So if it's really hitting me heavy, I need to sit down and relax anyway. So that works. But generally, if I want to still kick around and do what I need to do, I like those two strains work really well for the pain and keep me up and about.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Todd. Fine. Todd, I'm running out of questions here. I've just about reached the end of my list, which
Right on.
I didn't even write down because he came over to my house and we just talked. So I've been freeballing this whole thing.
Right on. It's good. You're doing a great job. That was fun
Thank
coming
you.
over and hanging
Yeah,
out as
man.
well.
And I really appreciated you coming by. And my girlfriend doesn't let a lot of people come by.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so I was honored to have you over. Your herb tastes fantastic. I'm out
Right.
of questions. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you, Todd. If
Thank
we
you.
missed anything or there's any shameless shout outs or plugs you want to do, I always leave the last word for my guests. And dude, thank you so much, Todd. This has
Yeah,
really been
thank
a
you.
pleasure. Yeah, dude. If there's anything we missed, this is all you right now. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, Caleb, for having me on. I just want to throw out, my company's Trout River Cannabis. Will be in stores soon, this sometime this year. We will be, after we get some revenue in the door from cannabis flower sales, we will be opening up and starting production of gluten-free edibles. I have celiac disease, and we're going to be doing certified gluten-free edibles, probably late this year. That would be my call. And hopefully towards the beginning or middle of next year, I would like to put it all together to open a dispensary here in Montgomery as well.
Fuck
So,
yeah.
and I'm going to give one last shameless shout out to Troy and Michelle at Highly Rooted, because they've made they've made in the last couple of years since my surgery and all made my life a hell of a lot less miserable. They've made it so it's not miserable. Let's put it that. And through, heavy generosity too. They've helped me out. Super great people. So I'll leave it there.
Mm.
Thank you again. Great to hang out with you, and I look forward to hanging out again.
Todd Lantery, Trout River Cannabis, Montgomery, Vermont. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you. Same here. Have a
Good
great
luck,
day.
sir.